Hi everyone. So I have been seeing that a lot of people that are new players and returning players to Neopets that are trying to get more involved with things, people that are really interested in the upcoming plot and want to be part of those things, um, that they're coming into the Battledome and it's for the first time ever, and some of it is a little overwhelming. So I decided to come and make a few videos going over weapons, going over training, going over inflation of these things, and really trying to help out and make these things that have been might be a little bit difficult for people who are not uh, learners by reading but are visual learners or auditory learners or kinesthetic learners, and give them a little bit more access to this information, and try to be a little bit more straightforward with it. Today, I'm just going to be going over the Battledome as a basic, kind of just showing you how the pages function and what to be looking for. So let's start with one thing first. Definitely check out Jelly Neo's guides on this. This is very, very wonderful information from Jelly Neo. They have training guides, they have stat guides, they have pretty much every bit of information you need, and I will be referring to that information. So definitely go check it out. This is just kind of breaking it down a little bit for those auditory and visual learners. I do disagree with their weapon selection, by the way, but that's for another video. Let's just go ahead and dive into this Battledome. So right here, we are on the second page of the Battledome, the battle page. You can see I have these lovely pieces of paper on my screen to block my username and my pet names because I don't want to have my account frozen by TNT if something doesn't come out right. Also don't want people kind of barraging my account right now. But as you can see, that's why I'm on the second page, by the way, I've made it easier. We have our wonderful little stats over here. We've got hit points, we've got agility, we've got defense, we've got attack. So I think some people have had a little confusion on those. So just a kind of basic breakdown. Strength and defense just help determine your damage output and the damage that you defend against. And I'm going to show this when we get into a battle. Hit points, they're very straightforward. That's your HP. That's how much damage you can take. And then you have agility. And right now, agility doesn't have a set use within the Battledome. It hasn't been utilized. It's been underutilized for a number of years. But they have said that they're going to be coming in and working on the Battledome, changing it up, fixing it in the future, in the most recent video with Dominic. So they don't have that set in stone. We don't know what it's going to be. We don't know if agility is going to be added into those ability sets that have use, but do beware that it may come in the future. It just isn't at the moment. All right. Then there is also level, and level affects three things. It affects how high your stats can be, the cost of training, and variability access. So I'm going to talk about the other two stats and training cost in a different video, but I do want to go ahead and go into variabilities, and that is right here in the Battledome with abilities. So we're going to go over to that page. Variabilities are set by level, and they cost blessing points, or I call them blessing points. You get these from utilizing weak bottled fairies and giving a blessing to your pet, and they provide 1 to 2 blessing points, and then those are used to pay for the different abilities in here, but you do have to be in the corresponding level. So obviously you can see there's level 1, level 5, level 10, level 25, 50, 100, 200, and so on. I'm at the 200, so I have up to that setting. When you're selecting an ability, you can only select one ability per set. So you can have 1 from 5, 1 from 1, 1 from 10, etc. You can alternate and switch the abilities, but this is not what I thought was when I first was getting it, is that you could just pay for all 3 of them and then you could alternate. That's not how it goes. You have to select one, and then if you want to alternate to another one, you can pay the cost for that, but if you want to alternate back, you have to pay the cost again. So you will be, if you swap back and forth, you'll have to pay. This is kind of important because we're coming into a plot, and there are some abilities that do better with boss battles that you'll switch up, and or other abilities might be for your dailies. And just be aware that you're going to have to pay those ability points. You're going to have to, the blessing points, you're going to have to use those. And if by chance, which unfortunate as I have to address this, those fairies get inflated, the cost of that might be a little bit more extreme than we would want. They're really cheap right now. Please don't inflate those if you're watching this video. It is not necessary. They do come for free. You're not going to be able to do it too heavily, but please just don't. Please. We already have enough of that problem as it is. But just be wary that that is how it works in the cost. As far as the abilities as a whole, check out Jelly Neo. They go over these abilities in detail and they give very heavy suggestions on what to utilize. I'm not going to make a separate video because that actually is a very good resource. You can kind of see what it says within their own description. It's pretty straightforward, but Jelly does a very good job with that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move over to our stats so that we can talk about equipment and how that runs. As you can see right here, we have our wonderful equipment listed for our pets. It's very easy for you to add and remove equipment from this page. You do not have to do it from your inventory. You can just do it right here. You have your selections. If you want to remove, you just click here. I have to put in my PIN number for that. And if you want to add, you click here. I'm going to remove this so that I can show you what the ad looks like. All right. So we are going to unequip. And then I'm going to re-equip. Hopefully that didn't show up too much. When you select it right here, it will not highlight, but the equip button will highlight. So you'll just go ahead and click equip, and voila, it's done. It's very straightforward. As far as weapon selection, that'll be a different video. So we're going to go ahead and move on to battling. So I'm going to go ahead and move down to right here. And I can finally remove my pieces of paper. All right, so I'm going to be fighting Professor Lambert. When you go into the screen, you'll have Challenger. I went through it too fast. And two-player. Two-player means PvP. That's player versus player. And then Challenger is when you're battling an NPC. Right here, you're going to see that they have 3 different levels: easy, medium, and hard. Each one is going to change their HP. It's also going to change their damage output, and sometimes it changes their weapon selection. Usually they use the same weapons, but the damage output definitely changes. So we're going to fight him on the easy right now. And I'm going to scroll down. All right, so let's the battle begin. So you can see we have these 3 boxes over here. These are where you're going to place your weapons. You've got 2 selections for weapons, and then you've got 1 selection for your fairy ability. When you fight against anyone, your abilities just kind of come at the same time. So this is where agility probably should have come into play, but doesn't. You're not outspeeding someone. You don't get to go first. It just is, if you would, your damage kind of goes in at the same time. I am going to use my lovely Fairy Tabard and a Freezing Potion and Icicle because I'm going to show some damage here. And click the fight button. All right. So as you're going to see down here, we have these lovely little things called icons. I think that if you've been reading or you've heard about them, they've come up, and sometimes this confuses people. This is pretty straightforward. I'm going to kind of zoom in on them. The amount of icons you have total is what your damage multiplier is going to be based, it's going to add to. So in this particular case, for example, I have done 8 icons of water damage. It'll show what type of damage you're doing. So I did 8 icons of water. And my multiplier is 5.5 right now, so I did 44 damage because of where my strength is at. It's at 5.5 and multiplied by 8. Pretty straightforward. All right, let's see. I'm going to pull this back out. As far as defense is concerned, or maybe I should have done it over here first. As far as defense is concerned, as you can see, my Fairy Tabard blocked water, and it blocked some air, and it blocked some physical. It didn't block the light, and it didn't block all of those icons, so I still took damage. Blocking out an icon does not mean that you won't take all of the damage. If they have a higher attack than your defense ratio is, if your defense multiplier is 4 and their attack multiplier is 5, they're still going to do damage. In this particular case, they just had more icons. I think my defense and their attack are the same at this level, but they just had more icon damage that I didn't block, so they did 63 damage to me. Now, the professor is frozen for this next turn, thanks to my freezing potion. So I'm going to switch up a little bit. I'll move this up a tiny bit so I can see my HP. I'm going to use a healer, and I'm going to use Varia the Bomb. And he's not going to be able to move at all. And as you can see, going back over to these lovely icons, I did 25 icon damage with Varia's the Bomb. I did 6 with my Icicle, so I was able to do 171 damage, a lot more significant. Now I'm going to just go ahead and finish him off. This ability makes it where he can't move for the turn, so he's not going to be able to move. And voila, he is now defeated. All right. I hope that is pretty straightforward information. I hope that if you're new, this kind of makes things a little bit easier to access. If you have questions or comments, please let me know in the comments below. That'd be really awesome. If I missed something, give me a heads up. But this is just supposed to be basic. There are going to be other videos coming out for you new and returning players. I'm so excited to have all of y'all. I hope y'all are as excited for the plot as I am. I'm super stoked. Today is the 22nd of September, so I'm also really stoked for the Fairy Festival in a couple of weeks. So looking forward to all of that. Oh, last little bit, when you click the collect rewards, you can play again or do a new fight right here. And that will, if you do new fight, that'll get you back to the beginning page. Play again, you'll just go back into battling back to back. But that's pretty much it. I hope this was informative, and good luck, and hope that you'll enjoy these coming up videos.